was a dark and stormy night. You had been out at a house party with your friends when you decided to leave. It was originally supposed to be with just you and your close circle, but the birthday girl, Clarissa, had failed to tell you that more people would be joining her and it would be a full blown house party with alcohol and drugs and sex. Oh, I really couldn't bear the thought of being there. I felt claustrophobic with so many people around. I'm an introvert, you see, so I find it hard to be in those types of social situations. I decided to venture out until the wilderness outside of Clarissa's home. It was in the middle of nowhere, like in the forest. It took a weird route to get there, so but I didn't really question it because that had been where she lived her whole life. And her parents were nice, nothing weird about them, neither about her. But there was something off about the family. Just one thing. They had a young son, but he went missing quite a few years ago now actually. He he was a he was a sweet and gentle boy and you knew him, but he went missing and they never found his body. No suspicious area had been happening in the area around it, so no one suspected the family or the neighbours. I mean, there weren't really any neighbours, but people living close by. And it was just weird overall. I never questioned it though. I didn't want to be insensitive and ask about it, opening up fresh wounds, so I just left it. I just left it there. I really wish I hadn't. As I left the house, I I went out. It was freezing cold. It felt like ice. Clarissa's birthday was in November, so I felt quite cold, and I didn't have a jacket. I had no idea where I'd put it. All the lights were dimmed in that house, and so many rowdy people around the room. I would never be able to find it if I looked hard, and plus I needed to get out of there right away because I was really getting like just I couldn't be there anymore. So I left. I went around. I was wearing a small mini party dress. It was black silk, and it was beautiful. My mother had given it to me as a birthday gift, which was a few months ago now, but it still fits snug as a rug in a bug. So I went. I hadn't had any alcohol, just some fruit, just some juice. So I wasn't feeling tipsy at all. But for some reason, as I went further, I started feeling a bit dizzy. I decided to go and just walk around for a bit longer. I was gonna go back soon, but then I started to hear some voices. I went to check it out. I couldn't hear what they were saying, it was just muffled voices, but I was intrigued. Who was there? No one else would usually be around. Maybe it was just someone from the house party. I wasn't sure, but I really wanted to know. I went out and eventually I burst through some trees. I didn't mean to, but I tripped. And then I saw someone there, but my vision went blurry before I could take in the view properly. And I felt a sharp pain in the back of my head, and everything went black. The next thing I knew, I was waking in on a soft bed. I assumed it was a bed at least. My head was pounding. It was pounding so badly. Everything hurt. It had to be. It had to be the morning by now, right? I felt like I had just been sleeping for decades. I felt so rested, but still so tired at the same time. When I looked around me, there was no one there until I heard some footsteps shuffling down the hallway. I looked up, trying to get up, but the pain in my body just made me want to lie down even more. I couldn't bear standing up, but I managed to lift my eyes a bit, and there I saw him. He was as beautiful as ever. I don't know where I recognised him from, but I knew him from somewhere. I had to. There was just something so recognisable about those eyes and that hair, and his face in general. There was something about him, and I knew him from somewhere, and I wanted to know where. He was abnormal. He had a tall, muscular build, strong arms, a piercing gaze, bright yellow eyes. Yellow, that's quite abnormal, but my brain didn't quite process it at that moment, since I was still feeling very hurt in my head. The headache was just increasing it as he walked over to me. He had a slight smirk on his lips, but apart from that, his expression was solemn. I tried to say something, but the only thing that came out was some rambling. It didn't make any sense, and he gave me a confused look. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Yeah, yes," I answered. "I mean, yeah, I think so." Um, what happened last night? I asked him. I was a bit worried as to what the answer would be, since he seemed to shuffle uncomfortably when I asked. "Oh, nothing," he said, his tone of voice still as bored as ever. Gosh, I'm not getting any answers out of him, am I? I thought. My mind raced. My mind raced with thoughts trying to search for answers in the back of my mind, in the back of my brain, but nothing came to light. I couldn't think of anything that had happened last night. Everything from the moment I had passed out was just a blur of blackness and nothingness. I had no idea what it was. I felt I felt annoyed that he wouldn't give me the answers I needed. It was frustrating to know that he could just go on knowing what had happened and I couldn't. I pressed for answers, but he didn't give any, and finally gave me that look that says, "Don't ask again." I felt threatened, so I just kept my mouth shut. He said his name. He said his name was Xavier, and he said that he was going to take care of me. I asked where we were. He gave no reply, as he had my other questions. I sighed once more. Gosh, I would never get answers out of him at this rate. I decided to go along with it. I wasn't sure how long I'd have to stay here. I hoped I could leave soon. My parents would be worrying by now, but he didn't seem to want me to get me to leave. He didn't mention anything about the night. He didn't mention anything about the party. He didn't mention anything about. He didn't mention anything about where we were or what was going to happen. I was scared, terrified even, but I just kept my mouth shut for the sake of myself, because those piercing eyes looked like they would kill me if I asked again. "Are you hungry?" he asked, seeming bored. I was tempted not to answer. I didn't want to answer his questions like he had failed to do to mine, but I still said, "A bit." But my head, "Do you have any painkillers, any paracetamol?" He shook his head. "No, but I'll get some today, if you require them." I felt a bit guilty. I didn't want to bother him with the task of getting something for me, but I was already here and I didn't know how much longer I'd have to stay, and my headache was killing me, so I decided to say, "Yes, please." I asked when I'd be able to get out of here, but he gave no reply. Once again, it bothered me so much that he would never answer any of my questions. I only knew his name. Did he even know mine? Gosh. I was scared, alone, frightened. Who was this man and what was he doing here? What was I doing here? Who is he? I glanced around the room. It was large, daunting, heavy. The rooms were painted black. The walls, they were decorated in paintings of unfamiliar faces, all seeming to have something special about them. Those yellow gazing eyes, piercing. They looked like they were following me through the room, like they watched me wherever I went. I was wearing a light pink dressing gown, and my brown hair was put up into a messy bun. It had been neat the night before, but now I just looked like a bedhead. I sighed. It was refreshing. change from what I was used to in my small home back in the village. I need water, I asked him. I told him. He looked at me with a sly glance. You need it or you want it? He challenged. I need it, I demanded. My throat was so dry it felt like the Sahara Desert. So I proceeded to go and grab some water. I didn't know where the kitchen was. I asked him. Finally, one of my questions answered as he led me to the large kitchen. The tiles were beautiful marble, and the walls were painted black once again, like the rest of them in the house, I assumed. You have a beautiful house, I told him. He looked at me over his shoulder. Why, thank you, he answered. I felt like such a burden being here, but why was he keeping me here then? What am I doing here? I eventually asked. He looked kind of shocked. Do you not remember? He said. Do I not remember what? Is there something about last night you need to tell me? He said. No, nothing like that. Do you remember me? I tried to rack my brain for any memories or thoughts. Remember him? I didn't even know him. I looked up into his eyes again, and suddenly all the memories came flashing back. Oh my god. Xavier. I looked at him with surprise. He gave me a warm smile. It's you. It's really you. I can't believe this. Xavier was the young boy who had gone missing all those years ago. My childhood best friend, who had promised to marry me one day. He said he would treat me like a princess and take me to his castle. Was this him keeping his promise? I looked at him steadily. Is it really you? Am I still your princess? He gave me a warm smile. Yes, you are, my dear. I looked at him. He looked at me. I sighed. I was relieved. When suddenly, I heard a loud bang on the door. Ryan! Ryan! I heard shouting from the other side. Who was calling me? Who was calling me? I recognized my father's voice at one point and some other male voices. They were calling my name. Xavier looked shocked. He looked scared, terrified even. The most emotion he had expressed this entire time that I had seen him. Hide, he demanded of me. I was confused. Was I in danger? I tried to say something, but he pushed me to the side and ran into the other room, grabbing something that I assumed was only a weapon. I decided to do as he said and went into the bedroom. I was worried about him, but I locked myself in the wardrobe and hoped for the best. I heard screaming, shouting, crying, slashing downstairs. What was going on? I wondered to myself. But then I heard something terrifying, a loud roar coming from downstairs. Ah! One of the men screamed. It's the werewolf! Xavier! Oh my god. Werewolf? A few moments later, I heard the screams of everyone, some running but still getting killed as they went, I assumed. Then came up the stairs a husky beast. It was terrifying, but it was magnificent. Xavier, I asked. Indeed it is me. I'm actually an alpha. I'm sorry for what I've done to you, Kitten, but it had to be done. They tried to defy me, and I couldn't have that. I couldn't let anything get in the way of our love, our marriage. We're soulmates. That's why I came back for you. We're soulmates. We belong together. Please, I can't let anyone take you away from me. Please stay with me. You felt sad at first because of the loss of those people, but you realised he was right. You did belong together forever.
Thank you for watching the ASMR story, The Alfred's Kitten.
Remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and tell us what story you would like to hear next. It's really appreciated that you help us boost our channel. Thank you, all of us. Thank you. Bye, kittens.